Good evening. So it is a Tuesday evening and I haven't really got anything planned, but I just thought I would tell you what the kind of setting I have for a Harry Potter type fan fiction thing that I'm writing. I've written the first two chapters and I've started the third chapter. So for about 10,000 words, there, give or take a few. And like I've decided to take some time away from that and focus on like the setting and the characters' bios, so that I can actually get it written quicker and also have some backdrop as to like the whole thing. So I've written a few pages of, well, 2 pages of notes saying about what the world setting is, because I'm not much of a small group setting. Well, I imagine the whole world and focus on a little bit of it. Yeah. So I've done like what the world is like in this story. And if other writers find this video and like the world setting that I've got down for it and want to write their own stories based on it, then they can do that. That's fine. My story is going to be my story. Other people will have their own stories about it. Yeah. So, in the basic world setting for it, like the Harry Potter J.K. Rowling setting, everything in the books happened. That's the first point. Second point, J.K. Rowling, because she was born in she was born in 1965. I've put Harry Potter being born as 1959, so that he would be in 7th year in 1976 when J.K. Rowling had started secondary school. And I've put it that J.K. Rowling was a student at Hogwarts and was there at the Battle of Hogwarts. She got seriously injured, lost all her magic and most of her memories, and her memories were disjointed. She had lots of dreams and nightmares about the whole kind of thing. So she wrote books as an effort to remember things, but ultimately decided to let them go. That was the kind of third and fourth, something like that anyway. Next point is the directors wanted real wizards and witches to be the actors, so they found the real people from the actual events. So that means that the actors are the real Harry, Ron, Hermione, everyone that's still alive at the end of the books, were used as the actors for their character components and were de-aged for the films. And someone messed up the potion because it wasn't Snape making it. It wasn't perfect. So everyone who was de-aged stayed as their young selves. And obviously, because of the profiles of the films, they had to be the actors, as it were. So that's the general world setting for it to work in the real world as such. I've put it that in work and relations and relationships, because of the lack of jobs in the wizarding world, witches and wizards have to get jobs in the muggle world. This creates a lot more half-bloods, quarter-bloods, and less due to office romances. And all of the technology advancements were made by witches and wizards messing around to make life easier for them in the muggle world and to see what could be done. So all of that kind of got me thinking about how did muggles and magic kind happen. So that made me think, at the beginning, everyone was magical. So there wasn't an issue of magical and non-magical in the Harry Potter type world. So in the beginning, everyone was magical. Squibs started being born after the last ice age and had non-magical children. This started the separation for magical and non-magical people. Some people thinking that blood needs to be pure began harassing the non-pure. So that started off the pure blood type thinking. Witches and wizards sympathetic to the nomad people lived with them to help. Squibs squibs who had squib children who had squib children who had squib children, like squibs after a few generations, were considered nomad or muggle. And this point is where the muggle-borns were come out. Muggles occasionally have magical children, but not all of them are magical, even to be considered like the Muggles occasionally have magical children, but not all of them are magical enough to be considered witches or wizards. And the ones that are not magical enough to go to Hogwarts or study magic are normally the street performers that we see on TV and on the streets. The street performers, the people who then become famous in the Muggle world. So that's just a brief look at my world setting for my kind of Harry Potter type-esque story thing. So if you liked it, then press like, and you can use this for another type of book. You could even go into writing stories based on the points that I've made. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. I can't tell you to like it or not. But I started writing my story as a kind of um, thing of, I don't know. I wanted to put myself into the Harry Potter world. Yeah, that's basically it. Um, but I wanted to do it in a way that made sense from my point of view. So that's why I put uh, the world setting. So it'd be interesting if people wrote stories about how technology advancements were made by witches and wizards messing around with muggle things to make it easier for them to live in the muggle world. um, and even uh, the whole kind of uh, magical um, magical and non-magical separation after the last ice age. That would be interesting. That would actually be interesting. Anyway, I better stop there because it's late and I'm tired. Good night.